Hello there, in this video I'm going to show you 10 Jimi Hendrix style A minor pentatonic licks. So we'll get straight into it here, and something about Hendrix's style of playing is that some of the cool licks in his style kind of mix a bit of chords in there with some single notes. So everything you're going to see here is kind of revolving around an A minor bar chord or an A minor 7 bar chord. Okay, so everything's kind of going to be in that box, and it's going to mix little bits of that chord in here and there. So here's the first lick. So you can hear other strings ringing into one another there, and that's okay. We kind of do want that more rough and messy sound with this kind of thing where strings are ringing into one another. So all we're doing here is start with your third finger here, pick 5 on the A string and slide to 7. That'll come up quite a lot in this kind of style. And then you're going to reach over with that first finger and grab the 2 middle strings, and you want those 2 ringing out, and as you can see, that's within that A minor bar chord. You get that cool sound. Now what you can do if you want, just interpret my tab however you want, by the way. You could let all those notes ring into one another. You get that real nice sound. Or where you release that third finger. You know, do what you want. So after we play that little chord, come back to 7 on the A string. Then you go back to that little chord, but then you hammer on your third finger to fret 7 of the 4th string. Keep that first finger planted. There we go, that's the sound we want. You've got to try and avoid catching that G string. It's a little hard until you practice this to get used to that. But you get that lovely sound where all the strings are ringing into one another there. The next lick is a variation of that with a quick trill at the end. Okay, so it's all the same until you get to that little chord. You're going to hammer on to that 7 on the 4th string, but pull off straight away, so like a trill. And you want to try and get both the D and G strings ringing into one another if you can. And if you want, you can do some vibrato on that little chord there, the 2 5s. You know, whenever you want. Sounds cool as well. You can use the whammy bar. Next lick is another variation of that, only once we get to the trill bit, we're going to be hammering on to the G string this time. So you hammer onto 7 of the G string with your third finger again. And you get that sound at the end of the lick. And if you want to do vibrato there, that's cool. Now lick 4 is starting with what we ended on the last lick. We've got that little trill lick, so I'll go through it here. And here, what I would recommend is just leave that first finger sitting the whole time. So you might get a bit of other strings ringing into one another, but it sounds really cool. Once you start practicing this, you'll really grow to like that kind of thing. And I know it might be tough to do vibrato on 2 strings, but just give it your best there. Here's lick 5, I really like this one. You know, I can't specify what Hendrix song that's in or anything, it's just something I made up, but it has that cool sound, and we're just using all these same ideas again. Okay, so we're sliding from 5 to 7 again on the A string. We're grabbing that little chord in the 2 middle strings again. Come back to 7 and slide back to 5. You've got 3 down there on the A string, then 5, 3 on the low E. Then here, I don't have it on the tab, but you could just slide up to this octave chord at the end. And I love that sound there. So after you've played 5, 3 on the low E string, go up to 5, keep it sitting there, and grab 7 on the D string. If that's a bit of a stretch, you can always use your little finger. And that little chord there, you're blocking the A string by the way and everything else. It's called an octave chord. And see if you can put vibrato on that. Now we'll keep going on to lick 6. So I don't have big hands, so I can't do everything Hendrix did, unfortunately. If you have big hands, good for you, it'll be easier for you. So I'll show you some things that happen in the Hendrix style, but some options if you find it a bit difficult and sore for whatever size of hands you are. So this is the next lick. Okay, so this is all revolving around your A minor or A minor 7 bar chord shape. Now, Hendrix used his thumb a lot on what would be called the root note of a bar chord, okay? And it left these other fingers free to do these little hammer-ons and pull-offs and all these cool things. It's difficult for me to do that even on a smallish neck, okay? But what you could do if you want is use your thumb for that first note of the lick and have your first finger sitting across the 3 skinny strings. And that sounds really Hendrixy straight away. Now, some guys can put that first finger across pretty much all those. I can't manage that. I could maybe do 4 strings. But it's a bit difficult, okay? You see what you can manage there. If you can't do that, you can always just use your first finger to bar. Okay, you can do that as well. I'll go back to this way, I'll give it a go. So pick the low E and give this chord, which is a tiny little A minor triad, just a hit, but then put a rest note in. Okay, so dampen the strings. Then, if you can manage to have your first finger on those 4 strings, this would help you, but it's tough for me. You then go to our middle 2 strings again and do this lick. Okay, so whatever you can do with the tools you've got, you know, just do your best with that. Lick 7's like a variation of that. Lick 8's like another variation, but we're going to go up into some of the higher strings for the hammer-on and pull-off bits. So we've got the same start of the lick. Then we've got this hammer-on pull-off bit, And if possible, we're trying to get these strings to ring into one another. So I would put your first finger across 4th, 3rd and 2nd string if you can. And if you can even keep the thumb there while you're doing it, good for you. I can't do that, unfortunately. So hammer on with a quick pull off, so that's a trill. Then you go down to 7 on the 4th string and then play this chord across the 4th, 3rd and 2nd string. Something like that. Now lick 9, I just put in like a pretty staple blues lick that you might be familiar with, and I'll show you how you can mix like a classic blues lick with this new style you might be trying to incorporate. So we've got this cool kind of Chuck Berry, Angus Young thing. Then a big bend. And then this hammer on pull off thing we've been doing. With the 2 strings in there ringing to one another. And one more lick here, so I'll show you 2 ways you could do this one. Again, it looks like we're grabbing part of an A minor bar chord in here, okay? So it's this partial chord here. And then we're going into that line. So you could do it a few ways. Strum the chord, then make it a single note line. You know, which is fine, but it'll sound more Hendrixy, if you will, if you try and let that chord sit there and just use your little finger to go down the scale. Something like that, and I don't mind the messiness really in there. It's kind of difficult to keep a chord planted and do that, but this will really improve your pinky control if you can control that little finger for all that. So I hope you enjoyed that. I've also uploaded an A minor blues backing track, just a plain old A minor blues progression that all these licks would sound cool over. So if you enjoyed this and you enjoy that, give the videos a like and subscribe if you're not already subscribed. Thank you.